Okay, hi Year 7. This is us in H3 languages because I would normally be teaching you in H3 for German. And this is going to help you hopefully work out how to use verbs in the present tense, which is a little bit of support from the lesson that we had this morning. Okay, so there are different people that you might want to talk about and different people that you might need to use with your verb. If we think about the verb to play, you might want to say I play. You might want to say you play. He plays, she plays, it plays, we play, you play again down here, and you play, and they. So they play. Your first question is probably going to be, why on earth are there 1, 2, 3 different ways to say you? And in German, it's different if you're talking to one person and being informal, so maybe to one friend, more than one person and also being informal, so maybe a group of friends, and if you're being polite, so if, for example, you're speaking to the teacher. So let's have a look at those. So, what do these look like in German? Well, if you want to say I, hopefully you'll remember from the lesson, you're going to need to say ich. If you want to say you to one person, so maybe one friend, it's du. He is er, she is sie, and it is es. Okay? Now that's as far as we went in the lesson, but I'm going to show you all of these so that you can recognize them. So we is wir, and then if you want to talk to a group of friends, you would use ihr. If you want to be polite, so imagine you're talking maybe to me in the classroom or maybe to the head teacher, you would say sie. And remember, it's obvious to remember which one this is because think it's got a nice big capital letter because you're making a nice big effort to be polite. And then sie again for they. And I know that might sound strange because you look at that sie and you look at that sie and you look at that sie and you think, how am I going to know the difference? Well, one of the reasons you're going to know the difference is because the verb that you use will be slightly different, or the part of the verb that you use. And when you see it written down, you're always going to have that capital letter when you're being polite. So I promise it's not as confusing as it looks. Okay, let's smarten those up first of all. That's much better. Okay, the next thing you need to think is that you have to change your verb. So, to play is the one we're using as an example. So, to play in German is spielen. And that's called the infinitive, and that's the word you'll find in the dictionary. But just like English, you wouldn't say I to play, you to play, he to play, so we need to change it before we can use it. What we need to do is we need to take off that en, and then we add some different endings. So, if we want to say I play, we are going to add an e. So we're going to write ich spiel and our ending on spiel is an e. For du, we are going to write du spielst. So if we want to say you do it, we're adding an st. Sie and s all take the same form. So he plays will be spielt, she plays, sie spielt, and it plays, es spielt. Then we've got wir spielen, we play, ihr spielt, you play, plural, sie spielen, if we're being polite, you play, and sie spielen with an en for they play as well. And those are our endings. There we are, that's looking a lot neater. Okay, so now you can see a little reminder at the top here that to play is spielen, you take off that en, and then you end it with spiel, and then you put these endings on. So let's remind ourselves what these words actually all mean in English. Okay, and there we are. So let's remind ourselves, we've got spielen, which is to play, and remember that we take off the en, which leaves us with spiel, and then we add these endings. So ich spiele is I play, du spielst, you play, spielt, he plays, sie spielt, she plays, and es spielt, it plays. Wir spielen, we play, ihr spielt, you play, sie spielen with a nice capital S is our polite you play, and sie spielen there on the end is they play. So any of our verbs in German should work in the same way. One of the verbs that we were looking at in the class today was sagen, which is to say. So remember that the first thing you need to do is to take off the en, there it is, gone, which gives you sag, and then you need to add these endings. So, first question, how do you think you would say I say? Okay, en off leaves us with sag. To say I do something, we know we need an e, so we should have ich sage. Okay? One of the other verbs we had was machen, and machen means to do. So if we want to say I do, remember, take that en off, which leaves us with mach. Our ending for I is ich. So I do equals ich mache. Okay, how do you think you would say he does then? He does. Pause the video if you need to think about it. Okay, he does. So let's find he. There it is. So and then we know we start with mach, and then we just have to think about what ending we need for he. There it is. So he does, macht. Okay, and our last example, we looked at the verb wohnen, which is to live. Okay, so remember, you take off that en, and anything you want to say is going to have to start with wohn, W-O-H-N. So let's do I live together. So I live is, well, there's our I, so ich. There's the start of our verb, so wohn, and then check my ending, it's an e, ich wohne. So how do you think you would say we live? Pause the video if you need to think. So we live, work it out in the same way. How do we say we? There it is, wir. And then we need wohn. Okay, there it is. And then let's check our ending for wir. Oh, it's another en going back on. So we live is wir wohnen. Okay. Right, and there is a little rhyme that will help you to remember these endings, and it is definitely worth learning. So listen to this. Ich takes e, du es t. Sie es, they take t. Wir en, ihr t again. Sie and sie take en. So listen to that again. Ich takes e, du es t. Sie es, they take t. Wir en, ihr t again. Sie and sie, they take en. And hopefully that will remind you how to make all your verbs in the present tense. Okay, good luck with the homework.